Hello, is there anybody there? I'm trying to join the Renaissance Explorers call. Am I in the right place? Okay, all right. I'll hang out.
Hi there.
Hey, hi everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hey, John.
Hello together, good to see you all.
Hello, Nadine and Guy. Irina. Welcome, everyone. I see Sorin over there. Hey there. Do you know, Irina, if Anna is going to join us or is she's still away?
As I understood from her, she will not be able to join meetings today. So, yeah, I think no.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. Well, welcome everyone. The purpose today is to carry on with our outer space sessions. Now we are becoming more self-organized on the topics, and we have a Trello board that we are going to go through after this talk, and we can add subjects and topics for bringing out here. People who wants to facilitate, everyone is invited. And the idea is that we always bring these topics around regenerative economics and governance, and expanding on the game guide of seeds, the seeds guide, and bringing topics. And eventually some of these topics can be also from exploration groups, research and the design groups, and the many different teams and groups that are forming around the new governance of seeds that's emerging, which is exciting. So today we are bringing this topic about the difference between DHOs or DOs and DACs, and that has been echoing on the many Discord channels around and in the forum for a while. And we felt that it's important to, name the difference, because it impacts how we make decisions, and also how we distribute the authority and the governance in these different kinds of groups. So Irina is here with me, representing also Star Do. That's one of the DOs that has been approved to the Seeds Commons, and we will be talking about this. Irina, you want to bring something to get us started?
Yeah, thank you, Julio. I feel that I'm happy you brought the idea for this conversation. This feels very timely in the ecosystem, and I know you brought it a while ago on Discourse. I went today and I read the thread there, and there are a lot of interesting perspectives being shared, and especially now with the economics, the seeds economics proposal that is put up as a referendum, and with the possibility of the go live and the harvest becoming closer to us, this is becoming a more and more important topic to know how we transition from what we see as the governance at the seeds global to governance at the regional level, with different regions that may come up, and with all the other organization and structures that can be formed to support the region. So yeah, thank you for bringing this, and happy to have this conversation with everyone here today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's totally timely, right? Because we now have 5 global DAOs that have been approved to the Seeds Commons, and then some people may not even know exactly what is a DAO. So, and there is to say that there is no real actual definition yet, because it's an emerging term, and it's evolving. And actually, the creator of this term, this has been created initially by Haifa, and Haifa is the first known DAO that we know of, at least. And yeah, so as the ecosystem began to grow, we realized that other DAOs would emerge, and they started to emerge. And we wanted to make this, to make it clear what is a DAO and what is the difference between a region, and can a region have DAOs? So all these kinds of questions. So what I want to do today maybe is to go over one post that I created in the forum briefly with this perspective that I bring. That's my perspective, is not the de facto definition or anything. It's just my view on this, and I want to inspire other people to see if that view makes sense, and then maybe to start to adopting it, because for me it brings a lot more clarity on what to expect from a DAO, you know, and what is the difference. So, and then we can have this initial conversation between me and Irina, but then I want to open up for questions and comments, and maybe expanding I don't want it to be just a conversation between me and her. Of course, it's for everyone to share their understanding and thoughts about this. So briefly going through this post, it's alive on the forum. By the way, the forum changed from explorers.joinseeds.earth to forum.joinseeds.earth, and it's becoming the Seeds Forum in the future. And we are also having other topics emerging there. So it's no longer just an Explorers Forum. I celebrate that. And yeah, so basically, I wanted to show this drawing here, and that drawing is, for me, it's a way to realize the difference between the DAO and what is I called originally DCO, but you can call DAC, but it's something else. It's not exactly a DAO. So the DAO stands for Distributed Human Organization, or a Distributed Holonic Organization. It derives from the word DAO, that's a distributed autonomous organization. So it replaces the autonomous, that is something very not personal and more like to something much more human, much more connected to the people that are part of the organization. And so the difference that I carry is this: a DAO is created to serve a specific purpose. To serve, for instance, we want to make bread. So suppose we want to make bread for the community, and then we create the bakery DAO, you know. So a DAO does something. It has to do something, you know, otherwise it's not a DAO. So it has to have a purpose. And sometimes this is the difference, you know, because a community can just join together because they like each other. They just like to being together, or they live there. They live at the neighborhood, and they just, you know, happen to be there together. And but they don't necessarily want to be around that purpose, or a specific purpose all the time. They have their own purpose. Everyone has their own purpose. They are doing great stuff, you know, on their own as a community, and it's marvelous as well. And so the main difference that I bring is this: the DAO has a purpose and has a membrane that says you are welcome to join if you want to serve this purpose. not whatever purpose you want to serve this purpose. And then you can join the membrane. You can be invited into the membrane. And then a DAO has, circles and roles, because these roles, they are serving this purpose. And when the DAO serves the purpose to the community is paying maybe the DAO using some kind of currency or resources, or, in a way, they recognize that the DAO is following that purpose and helping them in a way to attain their needs. And then they kind of can recognize that by using currency and paying the DAO. So the DAO is much more like an organization, like a company, like, like a group of people that want to do one specific thing, that's to serve one specific purpose. And then what is the other thing, the DAC? This is just intend to be a community. So suppose we have the Brazilian DAC, or maybe even the São Paulo DAC. So it's a community where everyone is able to join. If I just happen to live here, I can just join the DAC. I mean, there is no restrictions. I don't have to say that I want to serve this purpose. There is no purpose. I mean, I can just live here. I just live here. I want to join. And you can join and leave whenever you want. You just join and leave. And a seeds region behaves much like that. You can join any region and you can leave any region whenever you feel like. So if there is a region in Brazil and I happen to be moving to Brazil, I can join the Brazilian region. I don't even have to live there. I can just join the region, So, and then what's the difference? So if we're not serving a purpose, what are we doing, So, and then that's what happens. When you are in a region, you can vote, and you vote to be able to make concrete the projects in that region. So suppose the Brazilian region wants to create a football, court in the area, in São Paulo region, for instance. Then there is a proposal, and I can vote yes or no if I like football or not. I mean, I can vote yes or no based on my preferences. So on a region, I vote based on my preferences. On a DAO, I vote based on the purpose, because we are always serving this purpose. So if it's aligned with the purpose, we vote yes. If it's not aligned with the purpose, then we don't vote yes. I mean, that's the difference. In a region, I vote from my perspective. I am just one citizen there. I have my own view. And then in a region, there can be DAOs, there, for instance, in the Seeds Global, I created one region here called the Seeds Global region. That's the more ample region of seeds. It could actually be called the Seeds Commons now, So, and then there can be DAOs here as well, and citizens, and the DAOs, they work on their own. They have their own purpose. But the regions, we have people there. And then regions can be inside regions as well. This is one other perspective that I have. There is no problem with that. So you can have the global region, you can have the Brazil region, and some specific eco-village here inside Brazil, and people can be members of the many regions. I mean, especially if they are one inside the other like this. So yeah, so I just wanted to start the discussion with this, and I'd like to hear first Irina to see if she has difference from this, or she wants to add anything, and then we can open for more questions.
Okay, thank you, Julio, for bringing this perspective and making it visual, which speaks a lot. I really resonate with the distinction between a DAO or a DHO that is purpose oriented and or built around a purpose, and then the DCO, I think, or DAC, so many letters here. DCO feels more like community or region based, and I know that regions in seeds guide can be related with the physical region, but not only. It can be like a community of interest of whatever that common interest could be for people. So I feel that your distinction speaks to that as well. So yeah, that feels a good distinction to start with for me, and I'm happy to hear from others and how others feel about it.
If you want to raise your hands and to bring any perspective in that, I'm going to paste here the link to the forum. If you want to look there on the amazing discussions that have happened on that post.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Is distributed the same as decentralized? I thought the D was decentralized. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. That's an important distinction, and sometimes I mix both, but the idea is that a decentralized still has centers, still has, you know, nuclei, you know, so and a distributed is more like a mesh version. So there is not an actual center. You can't, you know, because a centralized system has usually one center, one big center, and everything revolves around that center. A decentralized one has many centers, you know, and the distributed one has absolutely no center. So I usually prefer to bring the idea of, well, the internet started with the idea of having really distributed systems, you know, that they really don't need centers. But in nature, we actually see sometimes this hierarchy, these centers emerging, and it's healthy as well. So you can have both. I mean, I think both are valuable. It depends on how you want to organize. If you are more hierarchical, I would even say that the DCOs are more distributed, and the DAOs are more decentralized, because they do have some form of hierarchy in a DAO. You have not a hierarchy of power of leaders, but a hierarchy of purpose. You have this circle, that's the anchor circle, has the purpose of the organization, but then you can have a smaller circle inside that has, for instance, the marketing or communication purpose, but that's also serving the bigger purpose. So it's a hierarchy of purpose, not a hierarchy of power, but there is a hierarchy in a DAO. So I would say it's more like decentralized than a distributed. It's a nice discussion. Thelma.
Is also a question for clarity. When you relate to DCO or DAC, those acronyms are for seats or something that is being used in a wider audience?
Yeah, so initially I used DCO just because it's similar to DHO, and in order to make the difference, and because we used to have in the seeds passport what we call the global co-op. So I would say the DCO was for a distributed co-op organization, or distributed co-ops simply, you know. So that's where the name came for me. But then people started using the DAC acronym, Distributed Autonomous Community. But that name is also used by the EOS folks to name what they call a DAO. For them, it's another name for a DAO. So in order to avoid the conflict, I prefer to not use the name DAC, but then people start using it anyway. So, and then I yielded and say, let's use DAC, you know, if people like this and it's more clear for everyone. I mean, but the idea is that I really wanted to use DCO because it reminded me of the co-op. And by the way, a co-op in real life is an organization where you can join and leave whenever you want, the same way. And it also does not necessarily have a purpose. I mean, the purpose is to serve its members. this is the purpose of the co-op. And this is the purpose of a region in seeds, to serve whoever lives there, you know. It doesn't have a purpose specifically, like we don't do a region for football, you know. I mean, you could even do a region for football lovers, but then the only thing that you have to do in order to enter is to say, I am a football lover, and you can enter and leave, you know, anytime. So there is no specific purpose outside of the organization that we are serving. And a DAO has a specific purpose. It's serving something outside of the organization. It's in service of the community. So suppose we have a seeds co-op like this, you know, and then we have a seeds DAO. What would the seeds DAO be doing? It would be serving, in a way, the co-op. So it would be helping to, for instance, the seeds commons. Is it a DAO? Is it going to be a DAO? Yes, it can be a DAO because it has a structure. It has a purpose to serve the seed citizens. So it's going to be creating, you know, structures and organizing the global DAOs in order to serve the seed. But they're serving someone that's outside the membrane, you know. So that's why it can be, in my perspective, it can be a DAO, you know. It has to serve something to the outside. If you're serving only the people inside because we love soccer, you know, and we want to serve ourselves, then it's a region. It's a DCO or a DAC, you know. So that's the main difference. And then if you look at the text just below that two images, it's nice to, if you want to look, you know, just before I give the word to you, John, briefly look at that. So what is a DAO? So the difference here is there are so many small differences that I enumerated here, but maybe this is too much for now. But just to mention that both they are both receiving money from somewhere, and in a way, the DAO receives funds mainly from the people it's serving. So I'm serving these people and they're paying me for this service in a way. So it's like a company or organization. But a region, it receives funds from the harvest mainly, because, you know, I'm a seeds region. I receive money. For instance, I'm the São Paulo region. We have like 10,000 members, and then we can receive funds to host projects for these 10,000 members. And then most of the funds come from this, you know. So there are some differences here if you want to read. So the main one is this: in a DAO, you can only join a DAO if you are invited to join, to fill a role that's serving the purpose. You don't not just joining because, oh, I think it's cool, I want to join it. No, what are you going to do to serve the purpose? So you're going to join one role that has a purpose, by the way, and that's serving the bigger purpose of the DAO. And that's how you join a DAO. But to join a DAC, you don't have to serve any purpose. You just say, hey, I want to join. And then you join, you know, so that's the difference. The membrane is different. So I just wanted to bring this. And John, please go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds like in the description that the voting is also different, that there's something called voice in the DAO, but in the DCO, that's not the case. It's based on a contribution score, or it could be one-to-one, one person, one vote. Is that right?
Yes, thank you for bringing that. Exactly. So in a cooperative, usually they use the voting like one person, one vote. So in seeds, the vote is based on your contribution score. But then the scores, they vary from 1 to 99. So if you are really into contributing, you get 99 votes. But most people, they would be, it's not such a variety of voices, you know. But in Haifa, for instance, there can be people with 2 million votes, where there can be people with 10, you know. So there can be a large difference of voice in a DAO based on the way that Haifa is operating a DAO. It can be used differently, but the idea is that in a DAC or a community, everyone has almost like the same voice, because they're voting for their own options. You know, they don't, I mean, they can be recognized as more contributing to the community. So suppose they invited more people, they are there the longest, they are, you know, doing a lot of great stuff for the community, then they get a slightly more voice, but not too much more, you know. So the variety of voice in a DAC is not so high, but in a DAO it can be, I mean, it can be more different, more diverse. Because in a DAO you are recognized by the amount of contributions that you do directly, and that impacts your voice. At least on the Haifa DAO, that's how it works. But there is indeed a lot of difference between how you vote on a DAO and how you vote on a DAC. On a DAO, we want to see people voting based on the roles and in order to serve the purpose. So if they think the proposal, for instance, is against the purpose, they would object to that purpose, to that proposal, to say, hey, this proposal is hurting the purpose of the DAO. So let's not do this, you know, here's an objection. Let's fix this. Let's, you know, change this. So usually a DAO can use, not even everything needs to be voted. It can use the decision based on consent instead of a voting consensus. So consent is basically, you just present a proposal, then you check for objections, and then if there is no objections, you just go ahead and do it. You don't have to agree. Not everyone has to agree 100% that this is the best thing that should be done. But actually, is this hurting the purpose somehow? Is this good enough, safe enough to try? Can we do this now like this and maybe adapt later? Yes, so let's do it. You just object when you see serious harm in the proposal, you know. So this is how you vote usually in a DAO. But on a DAC, on the other way, you vote based on your will. You know, I don't like it, I vote no. I like it, I vote yes. I vote on my preferences, my personal preferences. I like this person, I like this project, I think it's beautiful. I want to vote yes. But on a DAO, you are voting based on this purpose, you know, so it's different. Irina, you want to bring something to that?
Yeah, I was also seeing Neil comment, who was pointing about the specifics of the Haifa DHO and the voting based on voice, and the voice being based on the contributions that people bring. And this is definitely one of the models for governance. It can be several other models. And as Julio was sharing about the decision making based on consent, and this is the model that we have been using for Stardew, and it's currently being used in Renaissance Explorers and in MOM. So this is just a decision making is not based on individual contribution. Each person has the possibility to block a proposal as Julio described, or go forward with it if it supports the proposal. And yes, indeed, this is one model. There are all kinds of models out there, and Haifa has one that works for them, or they are exploring, and we are exploring with others for Stardew. And it's just a learning process. Of course, in Seeds ecosystem, we like to have diversity of perspectives and as much learning as possible. Back to you, Julio, and I see Melanie's hand.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah, I totally agree with that, Irina. So as long as you're voting, you know, as long as a DAO is voting based on the purpose, it can use whatever voting schema they want. It can use voice, it can use one person, one vote, it can use, you know, consent. So the difference is that a DAO is always voting based on the purpose. In a DAC, you are always voting based on your personal purpose, so your personal opinion, you know, because there is no actual purpose than to serve the people that live there, you know. So that's the difference. So we think that there can be many possible options for a DAO to adopt decision making inside, and actually in Stardew, I believe the most accepted one is going towards consent instead of voting for everything, you know. And and even the voice distribution could be different. But yeah, there's definitely many options there. Melanie, and then I want to explain also, there was a question by Alicia about what is the harvest, and I want to explain briefly about that later. Melanie, what's your question?
Thank you. I have a very practical question. I understood that we now have in the ecosystem a handful of DHOs, or DOs as you call them. First of all, is Renaissance Explorers in the meantime a DHO or on the way to it? Second question, coming to the practical field, I fully understand what you're speaking about, I guess. So how can I try? Where can I apply for practical jobs in DHOs, or where can I really test these things? Because I feel most of what you speak about, I have understood. We can have a one-to-one related cooperatives because I feel you're relating to your system, the rules and regulations in Europe are different. So I might give you a kind of information about cooperatives in our regions on a different core, because that might not be interesting for other people. But main question, how can this become practical? Thanks.
Thank you for this question. I love it. Yeah, I mean, the Renaissance Explorers has been born with the idea of becoming a DO. Just after the original idea was it to be a half a circle inside a DO, but then just after the first meeting, we decided that it was not going to be inside HIFA. It was going to be its own organization. And so, yes, it is a DO, and there is a bunch of people that call themselves the core members that are holding space for the orbiting members, as we call the people that come here to, you know, contribute and learn and share, but they're not energizing roles. So that's the main difference. If you are energizing a role, it means that you are serving the purpose. You're not just here, you know, to share and learn. Of course, that's super important. That's part of the purpose. But if you are organizing these meetings, if you are creating agreements in shaping the future of the DO in a way, agreements, then you can be part of this core. And anyone here can choose to be part of this core and join the core meetings to see what's going on and learn, and then apply for a role. And then, so by the way, we are using a tool called Nestor to manage our agreements. And this is the Renaissance Explorers DO on Nestor. So this bubble here is the Renaissance Explorers circle. And then we have all these beautiful roles here: scribe, facilitator, storyteller, inner space holder, process architect, roundtable representative. So you have a bunch of roles. And if you want to know more about what is this role, you can click here, for instance, Seeds R&D Catalyst. What is this role? So the role has a purpose: to facilitate meaningful evolution of seeds ecosystem through deep research. And Irina and Anna are both on that role. And the accountabilities of whoever is in that role are identifying areas, topics that represent priorities for R&D in seeds, organizing and facilitating focus on R&D groups to design proposals, and facilitating the process of implementing the proposals in the seeds ecosystem. So this is one role that someone may want to energize. Do stuff for this role. You can join meetings, you can tensions, and that's how the seeds, the Renaissance Explorers DO is organized. And we have meetings every Tuesday. Actually, today we have one. And the idea is that we also have what we call meta agreements. There are the agreements that they are the agreements on how we make agreements and how we evolve our agreements. And then we have the foundation layer to indicate how we created, how we founded this. And here is the definition of what is a core explorer, what is a transition explorer, what is a contributing explorer, and what is an orbiting explorer. So most people are orbiter explorers, and some that wish to fulfill quests, they can become contributing explorer. And if they want to energize roles, they can be transition explorer. And then if they are after 6 weeks, they can become core explorer. So it's all part of these agreements here. So hopefully this helped. Irina, you want to say something on that?
Yeah, maybe to answer a bit that people are asking for the link to Nestor, and I try to share in the chat that Nestor doesn't have like a shareable link that we can put with the outside world. Is based on membership currently, but we are trying to find a way with use the person who created to help us to make it visible. And I would also like to share something that I've been working with in RE in order to make things more transparent for the seeds ecosystem. This is a work that I've started with Apostle a few days ago. So this is a software called Coda, where we are trying to put up information about what's happening in Renaissance Explorers. And this is a section about the seeds commons that I created yesterday with the intention to bring the DHOs in the seeds ecosystem in one space where we can start having information about those DHO. It has been very difficult up to this point to know like where to find information about Samara or Renaissance Explorers, or with Hi-Fi it has been maybe easier because they have the DHO platform, they have their own server, but even that is difficult to navigate from one server to another to all these Discord channels. So my intention here is to develop this section even further to have information around each DHOs and eventually to be able to access information like available roles, or how can people start contributing to those DHOs here, or to make a connection from here to their own page or whatever they have to share there. And here for the seeds commons, this is a link that I can probably share with all of you. I hope that works. Maybe Apostle will help me, although this is still a work in progress, so bear with us. We have just started putting information together, but it's starting growing. So for the seeds commons, there is information work in progress here about the structure that we are putting together, and then how to join the seeds commons, guidelines for DHOs, also the eligibility proposal with the DHOs that have been voting on to participate now. So yeah, this will be a place that hopefully will have more and more information for people to be able to access, and also may respond to Melanie's questions around navigating the DHOs in the seeds ecosystem.
Yeah, and then I forgot to answer also one part that she said, how can we play? I mean, how can we start now? And so you can join one of these DHOs already, even Stardew or Renaissance Explorers you're already part of. But if you want to join more deeply and become involved in roles, you're super welcome to join our calls and apply for a role if you want. And the other thing is Hi-Fi is developing the DHO software in a way that it can be used by other DHOs. Hi-Fi wants to serve these DHOs with the software, and the software is evolving quite a lot. And I actually, in my role in Hi-Fi right now, is the DHO implementation liaison. So I want to be helping this new DHOs to be using the Hi-Fi software if they want. And the idea is that this will be available very soon, trademark, real soon. I already said that a couple of times, but this time is really soon. I mean, we are almost ready at the team to release this to the public. And we are already running a beta program for people who are willing to test the tools. And soon this will be really available for the many DHOs that are emerging on the ecosystem. So And one quick thing I wanted to show, this is this here is the Seeds Commons proposal that has been voted and approved by the Seeds citizens. And here we can see what are the eligibility criteria for a DAO to receive funding. So anyone can say, I'm a DAO, but in order to be recognized by the Commons as a DAO, these are the criteria. So they need to have a collective decision-making process rooted on decentralized governance. So there has to be some form of some process for decision-making, either be voting, either be like a DAO, or using the DAO tool, or using consent, or some form of decision-making that's clear. That's where people can see, okay, this is how we decide. Second, there has to be a process for issuing the DHO tokens, because we are talking about a DHO. It has to, in order for it to be decentralized or distributed, the idea is that people can own these tokens, you know, and then by owning these tokens, this represents how much ownership you have of the organization. And then transparent way for showing how funds are being used, because the ecosystem wants to know how are these funds being used. So it has to be at least a spreadsheet or some kind of tool for people to visualize what's going on. And then providing some kind of value to the seeds ecosystem on a global level, as proposed on this dual value proposition. So there is a form that you have to fill in order to match this eligibility criteria and apply to become part of the Seeds Commons. So just wanted to quickly show that. And there was a question previously by Alicia on what is the harvest and how is that feeding the DAOs and the DACs, you know, with seeds. So the harvest is a part of the seeds economics that's responsible for making seeds stable or constant, because right now the amount of seeds in circulation is finite. We have 3.14 million seeds, and that's it. That's all, or billion, I guess. Yeah, billion seeds. So that's the total amount of seeds in circulation, and that's not going to change. That's why seeds is right now scarce. And then if more people want to buy seeds, what happens with the price of seeds? Goes up. And if people want to sell it, the price goes down. And then it is a speculative currency right now. So the harvest is a solution to make seeds alive. The currency starts to breathe, like, you know, the currency of any country that's following economic rules. So more money can be created and money can be destroyed also. So this amount of creation and destruction of money gives the economic some more flexibility and makes it more alive. And the harvest is this process that will create more seeds and that will destroy seeds. Actually, basically, it's only creating seeds. The destruction of seeds is done by using some seed services. Like, for instance, when you plant seeds, you are destroying those seeds. You're removing them from circulation, and they are below the ground, so they are destroyed. So if you want to unplant those seeds, then the unplanted seeds are created back into the economy. So if a lot of people decides to plant, this is one way for the seeds to be destroyed in a way and removed from circulation. So the harvest is an algorithm that reads all this economic data of how the amount of people coming into seeds, the amount of transactions going on. If people are using seeds a lot, this means we can create more seeds to accommodate that extra usage of seeds, and then serve these people by giving them more seeds so they can do even more, you know. And if people are not using seeds that much and the usage is going down, then we stop creating that many seeds. We create less seeds. So if a lot of people are joining and using seeds, then we create more seeds. And then by doing that, we don't contribute too much with the inflation, because people are going to use those seeds. So it's not going to generate inflation or too much inflation, or maybe a negligible amount of inflation. So this algorithm called the harvest is creating seeds every hour or every, well, you could say every month, but it's created every hour. This is not live yet because right now the amount of seeds is fixed. So whenever this becomes active, where is this new seeds going to? They are going to be given to some people. And then there are 4 buckets of seeds that are going to be given. The first one is to people in a form of kind of a basic income or earned income, so universal earned income. So based on your score or your seeds contribution score, you get some seeds every hour from the harvest, you know. And the second bucket is about the organizations. So if an organization joins seeds and becomes a seeds organization, you are entitled to receive money from the harvest as well. And that's compared to your regenerative score. That's the score for organizations. So the more regenerative you are, the more seeds you get from the harvest. The third bucket is for seeds regions. So if you decide to form a seeds regions, the only thing you have to do is get 144 citizens to join your region, and then it becomes active. And then you start to earn seeds every hour. And what can you do with these seeds? They will be in the region account. And the only way for you to use those seeds is to create a proposal, a campaign that has to be voted on that region by all the citizens that live in that region. And if the proposal passes, the seeds are allocated to that proposal, you know. And the fourth bucket is the seeds that go to the seeds global, to the global DAOs. So actually it's probably going to go to the seeds commons after it becomes active. So to all the DAOs that are enabling the seeds ecosystem to be alive. So, and to maintain the health of the ecosystem. So when the harvest is alive, it's going to be generating seeds all the time for these 4 buckets, for people, for organizations, for regions, and for the global DAOs. So, and then a region that's comprised of a lot of people, the main source of funding they receive is from the harvest, you know. But a DAO, if it's a global DAO, it's going to be receiving money from the global harvest. But if you're not a global DAO, if you're a regional DAO that's doing regional services, how can you get money? Well, by performing services and people paying for your services. That's one way, right? Otherwise, if you are a seeds organization and you apply for being one, you start receiving seeds. If you serve the seed citizens, if you are performing services to the citizens, you get a score and you start getting money from the harvest as well. So for DAOs, I would believe that DAOs would be seeds organizations, most of them, and regions would be DACs. That's my perspective. Hopefully that cleared out, Alicia. And any more questions? Irina, you want to also add to that? No? Okay. So I wanted to go for another 10 minutes and then take the other 20 to 25 minutes to go over the Kanban and select the topic for next week. But we can have more questions in this 10 minutes if you want. And is that okay? How that resonates with you? I see some chat questions here as well. Are planted seeds part of the harvest? So yeah, so when you plant seeds, you get planting score. And that increases your contribution score. So your contribution score gives you a rank between 1 and 99. And if you plant a lot of seeds, you're getting one of the 4 scores. The 4 scores are contribution, reputation score, community building score, planting score, and transaction score. So if you plant a lot, you'll be getting one of the 4 scores up. But if you're just planting, you're just a millionaire and you have 10 millions of seeds, you just plant everything, you're getting good in 1 score. But if you don't do community building, if you don't have a good reputation, and if you don't do a lot of transactions, there will be people that can be above you, even if you have the more seeds, more than anyone else, you know. So it's not biased towards accumulation. Even though if you do accumulate or plant a little bit, it's good for the economy as well. But it's not just that, you know. Any more questions, comments on DACs and DAOs? Alicia, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's an easy question to answer, but when you did the first segment where you explained the different organizations, you said that is your view. Are there any like disagreements of what a DAO and a DAC are? I mean, do we have different opinions or yeah?
Yeah, well, there are some different opinions. For instance, some people say that everything is a DAO, and a region is a DAO, and a village is a DAO, so you can use the DAO for everything. And that was, everything was called a DAO before, you know, except for regions that never, we didn't actually, because for now, we don't have regions running yet. So that's why people are not seeing this as a different thing than a DAO, you know. But then when I saw this, I said, I want to make the difference. I want to call this thing a different thing, because for me, it's not the same. But then some people still call everything a DAO, you know, and some people at Haifa, and they think the DAO tool can be used for regions as well, and can be used for whatever, you know. It's just about setting some configurations. But I really wanted to make the difference, because that's actually one of the big issues I see in the seeds ecosystem, because we don't have clear boundaries sometimes, and how to join a DAO, you know, how to join a region, you know. So I think the main difference between a DAO and a DAC is in boundaries. And how do you join? So if you're joining a DAO, you are there to serve the purpose. You are there to do work in that purpose. You know, I'm going to, not just because I like Haifa, I want to join Haifa. No, I join Haifa because I want to work in one role that's serving the purpose of Haifa, you know. But if I want to join the São Paulo region, I can just join and leave, you know. If I want to move to another country, I can join that other region. It's fine. I don't have to ask permission to join and leave a region, but I do have to ask permission to join a DAO, you know. And that's the main thing that I had in this difference.
That's really helpful, Julio, because I could not understand how, you know, what the purpose of the regions becoming DHOs were. So it was very confusing.
Yeah.
While when you explain that, then that makes it so much more clear.
Yeah, so there can even be a regional DAO as well. So suppose we have a São Paulo region, there could be a São Paulo DAO as well. And what is the difference? The difference is that the people on the DAO, they are serving the people of the region. They are organizing the region. They have a stronger membrane. You can join and leave the region whenever you feel like. But if you want to join the São Paulo DAO, then you are in the core group that's organizing, you know, the work on that region. They are, you know, maybe leading community gatherings. They are organizing, you know, events. They are doing stuff to serve those people, you know. So that's the difference. And so you can have both. Hopefully that was clear. So I see a lot of people that have to leave in the hour, in 5 minutes. And I would like to briefly go through the Kanban to select a topic for next week. We have a bunch of topics very well voted already, so it's not going to be a problem. And then I can show you where the Kanban is, and if you want to join there and add your own topics. So this is the Renaissance Space Proposals Kanban. The URL to join actually is this big one here. I'm going to copy it to the chat if you want to join the board, and then you can propose stuff. So quickly, how this works. You can, if you have a request, something that you want someone else to hold space for, you can create a request here. So suppose I want to hear more about, the harvest or something. So you can create here. You're not going to offer this. You just want someone to hold this for you because you want to know more about stuff. And then you add a card here. If you are offering stuff, you want to present something, then you create that in the second column here. That's about offers. And then please, in this case, put your name in the card. How do you do that? You click the small pencil here and assign yourself. Oh, sorry, my one is in Portuguese. But you can say alter members or assign yourself to this card. And then your face will be in this card. So people know that you are offering it, right? And then what we can do is, if you like one of the topics on the request and you want to offer it, you can drag it to the offers and say, I'm going to offer this. And then people can vote on the cards. So suppose you like this one, OSHW approach towards creating more effective tools. Oh, I like this one, but this one doesn't have a name. So although it's in offers, I don't see who is offering it. So maybe it's Billy that created it. Maybe just click members and I'm going to add Billy. If it's not you, Billy, please remove yourself. Just using this as an example. And then another great stuff that if you can add a small description of what is this that you're going to offer, some details, it's nice. And then if you like this, you can just click vote here. And then if you vote this, and it starts to count votes. And then at the end of these meetings, we'll take the last 5-10 minutes to look at the board and look at the cards that have more votes and then select one of them. So right now we have 3 cards with 3 votes. And we have some cards with 2 votes. So we can briefly hear from people that are here to select Justin. I don't think is Justin here. I don't think Justin is here. Yeah. So Apostle, you are in these 2 cards here, the architecture of tokenomics and can we tokenize the externalities that capitalism generates? Do you want to briefly talk about these 2 items?
Yeah, the architecture of tokenomics, I think it's self-explanatory. If you click the description, I just wanted to create a presentation going on the different things that comprise a token, like supply, staking, burning, escrow, exchange rate, issuing. These are all things that go into the design of a token. And since we are creating a cryptocurrency here, it would be good to understand how that works, basically. And the other one was just an idea that I had about, because like there's this concept of externalities in capitalism, which is one of the biggest problems in how capitalism works, is that it basically distills everything to a monetary value, a monetary price. So without consideration of the harm that is done in order to succeed to create that monetary price, that sometimes mean slavery, sometimes means deforestation or pollution or whatever harm to the ecosystem. So my idea was to create like a co-learning session of how we can actually tokenize that harm, and could we tokenize that harm at all, and somehow use blockchain financial tools to work on it. I also had one card about deforestation of the Amazon. I think if we could actually apply some of the financial tools in order to that we're building here in order to impact that somehow. And I think I talked with you about the architecture of tokenomics, Julio, right? If you want to hold that or not.
Yeah, I can hold that space for that with you. I'd love to. So I'm seeing some last minute votes here. Some people voting up this first one by Justin, building bridges between Redwood and local pilots by aligning values through liquidity pools. This is something that Justin wanted to hold space for, even though he's not here.
Maybe we can contact him and ask him if he can hold it for next week.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, because he's not here, I would say that we want, for now, I would pick one of these two things here first. That's since you are here and we have that as scheduled, but then if Justin can do that, we leave the tokenomics for the next session. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to move this one that has 4 votes. Externalizing tokenomics, and I'm going to drag this one as well. So either one of them. So this one today it's done. So I'm going to drag it to the done column. Cool. And let's remember that on Thursday this week we also have a presentation from Mark on the new economics model for seeds that we have created, and it's up for voting as a referendum. So it's going to be on Thursday. I still don't remember the hour. I think it's 2 p.m.
It's the same hour as this one, 3 p.m.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Perfect then. All right. So that's it. If you like the.
Well, Nadim has one. I have one. I posted it in the chat. I'm not sure how this system works.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
What one? You have a team that you want to present, or?
Oh, it's a card on there. It was posted last week. One on partnerism, then Nadim has one on gamifying the SDGs.
Oh, sure. If you want to talk about them, I mean, go ahead. We have some more minutes.
Yeah, Nadim, you want to go first? Are you there, Nadim? Wow, go ahead.
I'm here. Thank you so much. As we are improvements and have some new partnerships there, I would like to update the slides. So I would take 1 or 2 more weeks. So just keep it on hold.
If you take 1 week, then you're up for next week, or?
Let's say 2 weks. So let's talk about Neil's program.
Okay, yeah.
Neil, you want to talk about this one?
Sure. It's partnerism. So it's about bringing a more partnership, bottom-up, feminine-based culture to and recognizing how it relates to a domination culture, which is, basically the world is a larger, very masculine, energized culture. And there's a Center for Partnership Systems that's just recently launched a course on this, and to actually start to introduce the concepts and the systems and the educational material behind recognizing this and how to address it to the seeds economies, which is based on a caring economy. So there's a lot of alignment with what that whole movement and the book, Chalice and the Blade, and the organization's about. And to start a partnerism and domination culture series to educate people about this. So that's what that's about.
Nice. Cool. So we have a lot of beautiful topics. So if you like,
I think that would be cool. Yeah, yeah.
Just vote on them, and the most voted will be selected first. But the idea is that we have space, holding space for everyone, And if someone has a topic that doesn't last for 1 hour, and if you want to share a space with someone else, you can also indicate.
Hey, I actually have a proposal, because partnerism and the tokenizing the externalities have the same vote count. And I would ask Neil, do you wanna present instead of me for next week if Justin is not available?
Is that for like next week, Tuesday at 10?
Yeah.
I would, this is Nadim. I think I need a couple of weeks.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
okay, start preparing then.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Cool. All
Awesome.
right. So thank you.
Nadim?
Yeah.
Yes. So talking about preparing, these topics we are talking about here are super important, and I think they are more important for the more wider audience, and not only Renaissance explorers. So like the last time when Mila had the conversation, we published it in Discord, but as well in other networks. And as I'm doing kind of a networking as well with the social media, why not, like, at least this call here, have it in the Seeds calendar as a public call, so everyone can participate and see these. And yeah, even public, we have a Facebook community, we have an Instagram community. So do we want to invite the people there to these calls as well, or just share the recordings? So this is a small discussion.
Well, that's a good point, Nadine. Thank you for bringing this. Originally, the outer space and the inner space and the spaces on Renaissance Explorers were open for Renaissance Explorers members, and there was even a selection of people and an invitation, and we wanted to honor that boundary, that membrane, you know. So that's why we haven't been inviting everyone into these calls before. However, things are changing, and maybe we can review that agreement, and maybe we can make it something more open so that people can join. But maybe it's something like that. People that are not members cannot add stuff to the board. You know, they can view the content, because of course the recording is always open and anyone can join, but they can't propose topics unless they decide to become members, you know. So that could be another membrane. So actually, I'm going to raise this as attention on the Renaissance Explorers Core meeting that's happening today, and hopefully the agreements will be changed. But for now, the idea is that these spaces are reserved for Renaissance Explorers members, even though if you invite someone and you think they want to see it, I wouldn't oppose. I mean, you can just invite them, but the agreement that's currently holding is that the spaces are available for Renaissance Explorers members. Okay. Cool. So thank you all for being here until this time. And if there is no more questions or comments, I would like to get this space to a close. How are you feeling? Any more comments?
Thanks, everyone. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
See you soon again.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you so much all together. I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.